Welcome, Solara here. I hope you guys are doing well. We are about 13 hours out from the new moon in Capricorn, and I am here to do your new moon in Capricorn Tarot Astrology Ascension report. Welcome. If you are visiting for the first time, I invite you to stay and see if you are vibing with my messages and my method. Welcome if you are returning. Welcome if you support me across platforms and you're coming in from Solara Speaks or my Substack. Thank you for all of your love and your support. We're going to get into the energies of the first new moon of 2024. So the new moon in Capricorn. I was going to say something and now I forgot what it was. I can't remember. Maybe it will come up after. New moon in Capricorn. First new moon of 2024 occurring at 20 degrees. And we have an interesting pattern that is occurring this year. And it occurs quite a bit at the beginning of the year. I was noticing as I looked at a few of the moon charts for the past couple of years and even looking a little bit forward to see the numerical pattern. And what I noticed, and I've never seen it before, maybe I'm late to the party, and it wouldn't be the first time. What I noticed is that there tends to be this energy that happens many years where the new moon or the full moon that starts the year off, all of the full moons, like maybe the first 2 to 3 full and new moons, will all occur at the same degree. And it's interesting because it's almost like the sign, not the sign, it's like the number. There's something being established through the number or through the degree that is doing two things. So on the one hand, because we're dealing with astrology and January is not the start of the true astrological calendar, then you could say that these are the establishing energies that are creating new material cycles, because the fourth quarter of the zodiac wheel is concerned with the materialization of the previous 3 quarters, which I've talked about, in other readings. But if you're looking at it from the standpoint of the Gregorian calendar, you could also say that these are the numbers that are being established for the year ahead. So, I mean, you can look at it either way. Either way, it kind of gives you the same story as reading energy often does. It's just looking at things from a different angle to tell you the same thing. But either way, it's interesting. So this year, the numbers that are repeating are 20 and 5. So we have the new moon in Capricorn occurring at 20 degrees. We'll have the new moon in Aquarius occurring at 20 degrees. And we'll have the new moon in Pisces happening at 20 degrees. And then we'll have a break away from that when the new moon in Aries happens at 19. And likewise, we have the full moon in Leo occurring in 2 weeks at 5 degrees. We'll have the full moon in Virgo happening at 5 degrees. And the full moon in Libra will also be occurring at 5 degrees. So the numbers that are setting off 2024 in terms of the new and the full moons are the numbers 20 and 5. And this is of significance because even in tonight's chart, when I look at the new moon in Capricorn, those numbers are definitely here and wanting to be known. So obviously we have the sun and the moon. It's a new moon, so we have the sun and the moon at 20 degrees of Capricorn. They're both in Capricorn at 20 degrees, right? But then we also have the North Node at 20 degrees Aries. And then we have both Mars and Jupiter at 5 degrees. Mars is at 5 degrees Capricorn and Jupiter is still at 5 degrees Taurus, which is where it was when it completed its retrograde not too long ago. So we've got that energy is very, very, very prominent in the chart for this new moon, the 20s and the 5s, and these are going to be energies that repeat themselves in the next few full and new moons up until Aries season or the new astrological year. Now, 20 is an astrological degree of Scorpio, so whenever we meet an 8, a 20, yep, those would be the only ones, the 8 degree or the 20 degree mark, That's Scorpionic energy. And when we deal with Scorpio energy, whether we're dealing with it in degrees, in house, or in sign, or even the planets that rule Scorpio, which would be Mars and Pluto, we are always connecting with the energies that deal with polarity, deal with heaven and deal with hell, you could say. And in my opinion, those are states of mind more than they are actual places, but you know, take it as it resonates. So Scorpio for me as a sign is the sign that its medicine is here, because every sign has medicine. Every sign is here to help us to ascend. Scorpio's medicine is it helps us connect with the highest aspects of our truth and the lowest aspects of our truth, so that we can bring it all together and alchemize it in order to be born into the fullness of who we are. That's the Phoenix energy of Scorpio, and as such, it deals with very intense. It takes us through intense journeys where we have to consent to dying in order to be reborn, right? That's the Scorpio energy. It's all about destruction in order to bring forth something new and beautiful. Scorpio deals with extremes in the zodiac, right? And so there's that theme that's underlying with the 20-degree mark in terms of the astrological energy of the degree. So we've got this Scorpionic energy, which of course is also, the Scorpio energy is also one of the underpinning teachers for 2024, because when you break down 2024 numerically, it breaks down to 8. And 8, like I said before, is an astrological degree of Scorpio. So if you're not yet aware, the main energies for 2024, if you're looking at it through the lens of tarot astrology and numerology, are Leo and Aquarius, only because the number 8 card of the tarot is the strength card of Leo, and the number 17 card of the tarot is Aquarius, the star card. And then because we're dealing with the number 8, we're also dealing with Scorpionic energies and themes. So you can also pull out the major arcana cards of Scorpio, which are death, the Tower, and judgment. And I would lean more towards, in terms of what's actually happening this year, more of the energies of judgment. And what else? Oh yeah, and then we would be dealing also with the minor arcana 8 cards, the 8 of Wands, which is Sagittarius, the 8 of Swords, which is Gemini, so mutable energies, the 8 of Cups, which is Pisces, and the 8 of Pentacles, which is Virgo. Okay, so those are the energies of 2024, and with this new moon in Capricorn, we have a little bit of that Scorpionic energy letting us know it's setting itself off for the year, and we'll see it again when the sun and the moon will be at 20 degrees Aquarius, and then the sun and the moon again will be at 20 degrees Pisces. We'll still have that underpinning Scorpionic energy born from the fact that the 20-degree mark is a Scorpio degree. Okay, so we got Scorpio hitting us in a few ways this year, and specifically through these new moon cycles. Now, 20, not for nothing, in the tarot is also connected to Scorpio because it is connected to the card of Pluto, which is the Judgment card. The number 20 card in the tarot is Judgment. So if you wanted to look at the themes of the first, I think it's 6 full and new moons of 2024, the theme of the new moon is Judgment. So that would be, because we're dealing with new moon energy and the Judgment card, that would be about the rebirthing process. And the full moon energies would be the number 5 card of the tarot. So it would be 2 things. It would be the Hierophant predominantly, but then you could also say underpinnings of the Temperance. So here we're dealing with a few energies through the full moon. We're dealing with the death of systems, but more importantly, we're dealing with the death of systemic programming that has taken us out and away from self and truth, and we are putting a death to those energies, also by way of being activated into our higher wisdom and our higher frequencies, courtesy also of the Temperance card. The Temperance card is the card of Sagittarius that enables heaven to come onto earth. It's the card of angelic activations, but it's more the card of receipt of those activations and the balancing that happens when that occurs also. So those would be some of the energies we're dealing with this these first 6 new and full moons of 2024. Now, another theme that we're going to quickly visit before I get into the breakdown of the numbers and what this all means. Another theme we're visiting is we are closing out a cycle that kind of opened with the full moon in Capricorn back in 2022. Now, the full moon in Capricorn back in 2022 was all about the closing down of the karmic contracts of the age of Pisces that had kept us bound. So those contracts expired with the full moon in Capricorn in 2022. And what we've been dealing with since then is the playing out of energies for us to be able to see the themes and the stories and the plots behind why and how we were enslaved to these contracts and cycles and beings to begin with. Okay, so the whole point of the exposure of those energies was so, well, for one thing, at the end of an age and at the close of contracts, they must be expunged. And they're expunged and purged through us because we were the contract holders. So as such, in order for us to decide whether or not we're going to sign back on for another round of that, because we have the option, we all have free will, we are shown the energies of what the contract entailed. And that's what we've been dealing with for the past 18 to 19 months is the exposure of those energies, the exposure of those narratives, the exposure of those plots, all of the schemes and the ways these beings have been fooling us across many timelines. It was coming out for us to see in order now to come to terms with those energies, to walk away from them in full. And in doing that, we had to deal with a lot of the lies and the narratives that we had consented to believing. And this is why we got stuck in those contracts to begin with. And now what's happening with this new moon in Capricorn is we are getting ready to rise into new material contracts based upon the work that we've done in the previous cycle, and also based upon our willingness to now completely let go of the karmic stories and to completely relinquish ourselves of all of the karmic hooks. And the foundation upon which those energies were built are the things that were always within us. And so now we're dealing with the bedrock and the foundation of those energies. So we're no longer dealing with the external representations and the beings anymore. We know those stories. Now it's a one-to-one situation where it's time for us to clear the debris that in any way would keep us now from rising into our divine truth. So I think it was in the last Tarot Astrology Ascension report for the full moon in Cancer that I said that 2023 was the year where all of the towers came down in order to help us to move forward in our chariots. Those were the themes of 2023, the chariot and the tower were the two cards of last year. And so now the towers have come down. We should have located our chariots, which are our light bodies, right? And now it's up to us as individuals to get out of the rubble. Now, the way my guides were showing it to me. It's almost like 2023. The towers were coming down, and it's like you're in a situation where, you know, you're in a natural disaster or a fire, and so everyone has to evacuate and everything's coming down and everyone's together talking about what happened, trying to figure out where people are, trying to figure out what the situation was, right? That was 2023. And now 2024 is that trip to, you know, the hospital or to the next step in order for you to begin to rebuild your life. In other words, you no longer need to be talking to all of those people to find out what was going on and how the fire happened or how the tower fell or how we don't need that anymore, because we're at the next phase. We're at the phase of getting ourselves back into optimal health in order to fully rebuild. And it's kind of overlapping at the same time. We are coming into optimal individual balance in order to recover the truth of our frequency. And at the same time, we are also rebuilding. We're building a new reality, because we're building it through the finding of our own stability on an energetic level. So, new moon in Capricorn. So, give me 1 second. Let me just get myself sorted out here with my screens. Okay, so the new moon in Capricorn is happening tomorrow. Well, I'm recording this at 10:25 my time in the night, so it's happening tomorrow at 11:57 GMT. And it's happening on the 11th of January, which is also interesting because tomorrow is technically a portal day. So the first portal of the year was, of course, the 1st of January, 1/1, and now we have the 1/1 portal, the first one of the year, 11th of January, in other words. Now, what's interesting to me about that is that the last new moon was on a portal also. We had the new moon in Sagittarius occurring on the 12/12 portal also. So it'll be interesting to see what that's going to, you know, bring forth for us. But this means there is a grand energy that is opening up. A grand portal, you could say, that is being established or opening up through this new moon and through tomorrow's portal energies. And portals are leading us somewhere. So where are they taking us? Well, the 20-degree mark, like I said to you before, that the North Node is in also in the tarot, is the Judgment card. But because we are because we're dealing with new moon energy, it's feeling more to me like a rebirth portal. This is a portal that we're going through in order to be born again, for as long as we choose for that to be. Okay, so Capricorn energy is connected to the way we bring our godhood onto the earth planes. And as such, we say it's, you know, our material contracts. Now, the way we bring our godhood onto the earth planes is how my guides wanted me to break this down and explain it tonight, because there's a myriad of ways through which we can wrongfully and rightfully express our abilities as conscious creators, or as beings with creator energy, because we're not always creating consciously and conscientiously, and this is what got us in this mess. So in the tarot, the Capricorn card is the devil, right? And so that is Baphomet in its shadow energy, but it's also emblematic of Mother Earth, of the Divine Mother materialized in both her darkness and her light, is what that Capricorn energy is, and she's materialized through us. So mater is the word mother in Latin. It's the Latin root of material. Material is mater, mother, right? So this is really about our relationship with how we birth in our earthly, you know, our earthly representations, how we birth the power that is the Divine Mother and has always been accessible through us as creator beings. So the Divine Mother gives us many things. The Divine Mother gives us resources. And you can see that even in biology. It is the mother who gives us the resources and the building blocks of life. The father gives us our identity, father gives us our gender, father gives us our name, but and father is the one who brings the seed, but it's mother who takes all that information and provides us with the building blocks we need, from how we grow in utero, to how we are nursed at the breast, to how even as children, it is predominantly, a lot of the time, the mother who is responsible for how we are nurtured and therefore our emotional foundations, which is connected to Capricorn's sister sign, which is Cancer. And Capricorn is kind of, you could say, the material result of that nurturing. How we take how we've been nurtured and the emotional foundation we've had, and then begin to apply it in how we begin to move in the earth and how we relate to one another, and more importantly, how we then begin to express our value and interact with other beings' value and the value of the earth planes. And it's in this and through this that we then get what we call material contracts. Now, when we have a healthy emotional foundation and we are still aware of who we are as divine beings, and we are utilizing our God power to consciously create from that place of stability, then we are living in a world that we have not been living in since the previous golden age, and this is what we're bringing back. But when we are, our emotional foundation is not based upon anything real or stable, when we are constantly being born to deeply wounded women who don't have the capacity or even a lot of the time the tools to be able to heal themselves because of the dogmas of the matrix, when we are growing up in that reality and then we are living in a system that devalues human life, and we are not told of who we are and how the power we wield as electromagnetic beings and how everything is actually being created through us in our resonance, then we begin to create a lot of discord and dysfunction and disharmony. And it's our God power that's doing that, but it's being used against us because we're unconscious of who we are and how we actually create and how everything is made through us as holographic beings. And this is what then results in all manner of fuckery and expression of that in terms of the ways we then begin to harm ourselves. We get overly involved in making money, or we become addicted to things in order to find some level of feeling, a false sense of stability, and we overly indulge in the things of this world that were wrongfully created anyway, because while nothing that exists is actually harmful in the hands of beings who are not in their power, it can be. And this is what we're seeing has occurred. And this new moon in Capricorn is wanting us to be reborn back into our conscious creatorhood. Okay, so the sun and the moon in Capricorn, that is the devil energy, like I said. Capricorn is also ruled by Saturn, so there will always be an initiative of bringing back some kind of order. And so there's an order that is being established. It began with the full moon in Cancer with that 4-4 energy. New foundations were being set. There's a new order that's being established, and this new moon is helping us birth that reality. And it's most importantly, it's helping us to be reborn into our full abilities as conscious creators for as long as we are ready to take up that mantle again, yeah? And for as long as we're ready through that Scorpionic energy, which is, the astrological energy of the degree, for as long as we're ready to fully accept the highest truths about who we are and the lowest realities, the lightest and the darkest aspects, the extremes and the polarities that are part of us too, that because of the matrix and because of the shrinking of our consciousness, it's been hard for us to grasp those energies. They were too big for us to even begin to think it was possible. And now it is possible for us to see ourselves in our fullness, in all our glory, to see the so-called darkest aspects of self and the highest aspects of self, and to bring them into the oneness field, and to realize that actually they are one and the same, because we are both creator and we are also destroyer, and both energies are equally important to the maintenance of harmony. And until we remember that, until we relearn how to wield the power of both our creator or our creation and our destruction powers in order to bring forth harmony within and harmony on the earth plane and harmony with one another, until we remember how to do that, until we accept ourselves as both creators and destroyers, then we're going to consciously be creating things out of balance and destroying things out of balance. And this new moon in Capricorn wants us to rise into the fullness of who we are on both polarities, to bring it back into harmony and to reconcile that with self. We are all. Everything that has ever been created on this earth plane, it has used us for that to occur. We are everything. We are the all. Okay, and this new moon in Capricorn really wants to remind us of that again. So the 20-degree mark, it is the Three of Pentacles, but it's the doorway into the Four of Pentacles. So it technically is a Four of Pentacles, but the way I see it, it's kind of both. It's both the Three and the Four of Pentacles. So the Three of Pentacles is all about collaboration. It's about building. It's about the building in order to set foundations. The Four of Pentacles is the energy where we have to begin to address a few things. We have to begin to address any lack narratives we have. We also have to begin to learn how to protect what it is we're building. Okay, so this is the energy of as we're being reborn, realizing and recognizing the sacredness of this process, and kind of like inviting energies in that match that sacredness accordingly. And when I'm talking about energies, I'm not talking about other people even. I'm talking about the things that we entertain in our own mind, that therefore we begin to create unconsciously. This is really about becoming more protective of where we place our own sense of value, but also where we place our value as we reconnect with the power of our energy to create and to destroy, is what I'm getting here. Now, both Mercury and Venus are in Sagittarius. Mercury is coming out of a period of retrograde, and it's been about a little over a week now, I believe. And when Mercury is stationed to go direct, it was at the 22-degree mark, which is a degree of Capricorn. 22. It's a degree that speaks of partnerships. It's a degree that speaks of mastery. So Mercury has already been giving us these lessons in mastery through the energy of Sagittarius, through the sign of Sagittarius, I should say, and then through the degree of Capricorn. So Sagittarius as a sign is very, very invested in your liberation, in my liberation, in our ability to not only be liberated, but to be able to walk in the fullness of that truth. And to walk in the fullness of that truth because we have reconciled with our Godhood, but also because we have learned how to independently thrive to the point where we are able to create personal philosophies for self in how we choose to wield our power in ways that feel in balance to us. So Mercury at the 27-degree mark of Sagittarius. So Mercury, of course, is the magician, right? So this is speaking of all the tools we have available to us, but it's also speaking about the information that is available for us to access at this point and what it is that it's here to do. And ultimately, it's here to liberate us. So the 27-degree mark of Sagittarius is the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands energy is the last card in the wand suit. It follows the Nine of Wands, which is also Sagittarian energy, and the Nine of Wands is the generational curse breaker, in my opinion, of the tarot, and not only in family lines and family ancestry, but the Earth's ancestry. And the Ten of Wands is finally making that break, having carried so much shit alone in order to navigate through the densities and to clear them, and now being able to finally come to the end of the road and bust the fuck out of Dodge. Okay, so Mercury is showing us here, how do we get all the way out of Dodge? Because we're not yet. We're still in these energies where the karmic cycles, they're closed, but they're still trying to hold on to us. And the only way they have a grasp on us is by the energies within us that they still can identify with in order to latch onto, which is why it's so important right now that the work we do is with those internal energies, right? But Mercury is still here showing us the way forward, showing us how to liberate ourselves, but also showing us how to walk in our truth, showing us how to establish the philosophy, the personal philosophies we need to move forward, but also because Mercury, when it was in retrograde, was showing us all the ways our consciousness was still attached to stories and themes and things that are designed to take us outside of self. Mercury is also showing us the way out of that, having taken us on a ride, on a review through the fact that that was still happening in different ways, and waking us up to that truth also. Now Venus in Sagittarius at 15 degrees. So Venus was in Scorpio for a minute, right? And Venus was teaching us some very intense lessons through the Scorpio energy of helping us to like disavow ourselves from energies that can't go with us into heaven, quote unquote. The new earth is, you know, what other beings have called heaven, paradise, the Elysian fields. Venus, Scorpio energy does not allow. It's a key holder. Scorpio holds the keys to Hades or to hell and to heaven. It holds the keys, okay? And so when Venus was in Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio was challenging us to rid ourselves of all of the energies, habits, mindsets, and beings that can't go forward with us anymore because they're not worthy of what it is that's coming forth. And so now with Venus in Sagittarius, the energy feels a little bit lighter because Venus is here. Again, Sagittarius is the energy of liberation. The 15-degree energy is connected to Gemini, which is Sagittarius' sister sign. So this again is connecting us to some form of information that we need in order. Venus wants us to, Venus is committed to us living beautifully. So this is all about being liberated into our ability to live beautifully, but it's also being liberated from things that have weighed us down materially, or things we've given too much weight in this world that have to go because it doesn't have its place in this new world. And I get that because 15 is the devil card. It is connected to the devil card of the Taurus. So what are we being shown that we have to let go of? And I would say, like today, I just did a word for your day with Solara on my Substack, and this was an energy that was coming through quite strongly, and that is the need to let go of this, let go of these narratives and these programs that had us believing and thinking that we had to do something in order to be worthy, instead of just the mere fact that we are because we exist, that we have, that our value doesn't lie in what we do, it's just who we are, and resting in that. There's a very strong call from the Divine Mother right now for us to understand and overstand that our value is not in anything that we've been told makes us valuable if it doesn't honor our divine truth, if it doesn't honor who we are as divine beings, if it doesn't honor our soul's path, if it doesn't honor our individual beauty, if it doesn't honor our true purpose, you know. And this Venus in Sagittarius, that's what it feels like it's helping us to work through with this new moon, like letting go of those things we've given too much credence and value to above self, and we've actually made those things like identifying factors for what make us valuable. Yes. Now, Mars in Capricorn at 5 degrees. So Mars is there, still in the caboose, still holding back the energies that would seek to come as we move forward. Mars is a fighter, fighting and defending. The divine masculine protective energy is articulated planetarily through Mars. So what is Mars fighting for? Well, Mars is fighting for a I'm hearing that Janet Jackson song, a new agenda. Amen. All that we've been through, it's time for us to rejoice. A new agenda's due. Amen. It's time they know the truth. The time has come to rejoice. A new agenda's due. I think those are the lyrics. Yeah, I think those are the lyrics. That's on her album, Janet. I remember that very well. I used to be a dancer back in the day, and I used to like to choreograph a lot, and I did a piece. I did a piece to that particular song, but I'm hearing that song, that Janet Jackson song, New Agenda. That's what Mars is fighting for, and it's coming through the 5 because the 5 again is connected to the Hierophant. It's connected to the Hierophant energies of systems, institutions that have ultimately, been the things that have formed the way we view ourselves and how it is we're supposed to build and live in the world. It's been based upon what these systems have told us is acceptable. And then, even if you're not a part of these systems at this point, we still have those energies, those that have formed the way that we view ourselves in the world, have formed our value system. That's what, the Taurus energy is about also. And so Mars is here to help us fight for our value and to fight against the systemic energies within and without that still want to hold us hostage to anything materially that keeps us bound out of our power. That's really what I'm getting with this Mars energy. And Mars is also fighting for us to set the new foundations we need to move forward in our personal states of harmony and stability. And I'm getting that through the 5 degree of Capricorn is 2 of Pentacles energy. It is the balancing of what is needed foundationally for the energy materially to continue to grow in order that it be birthed. So that's what I'm getting with Mars. Mars is also, fighting for new material realities and contracts that must be born through new systems. New systems. Mars is also waging war against, even like religious ways of believing and thinking. And religion isn't always connected to religion. Being religious, I should say, is not always connected to religion. You can be religious about anything, but if it's not founded upon your own personal philosophy and truth, as the Sagittarius energy is wanting to help you realize in its false doctrine, it's a form of indoctrination into some external energy that will forever be taking you away from your power as being God over self. So Mars is fighting that too. Okay, now Jupiter is still in Taurus at 5 degrees, and this is where Jupiter stopped when it was retrograding, and now Jupiter is direct. And so this 5-degree mark of Taurus is important. So we've got double 5 energy here. We've got Mars and Capricorn at 5 degrees, earth energy. Jupiter and Taurus at 5 degrees, earth energy. We're speaking of the return of value. We're speaking of the planets helping us reconnect with our true intrinsic value, because this is what value systems are based upon. We had such a fucked up value system in the matrix because of what we chose to value. We valued, and when I say we, I'm just using this as collective energy, whether you individually did this or not, it doesn't matter. We all did to some degree when we didn't know any better. We valued money. We valued things. We valued qualifications. We valued, numbers. And we valued those things sometimes over human life. And we all did, because even if you didn't value that over another human life, you valued it over your own, which is the same thing. Yes, so we all did that. And so Mars and Jupiter are helping us to get a new value system. We're being reborn back into our truth. And the true value is in a human soul. And the Matrix knew that. It just didn't want you to know that. This is what all of their energy harvesting was about. But we're reconnecting. We're reconnecting with the true value of everything. And this is what the New Earth value system, New Earth financial system is ultimately going to be based upon. It's going to be based upon our ability to find the value in everything and everyone. Right? And, even the darkest of energies, quote unquote, have value. They exist for a reason. The entities that have been used wrongfully to destroy still exist for a very real purpose. And if we continue to walk in this matrix program of wanting to say something is wrong or right or good or bad, which is really a poor expression of duality, and not really wielding the power of your consciousness to utilize the power of polarity to bring things into balance. Duality consciousness keeps everything separate. Having power over the polarities realizes that everything is the all, and you can utilize the power and the energy in any way to bring forth whatever reality that you want to. You can bring forth realities that are fucked up, and you can bring forth realities that are harmonious. It's up to you. It's not the energy that's bad. It's the vehicle that is expressing it, which is us. We are the ones who have always had the power to bring forth beauty, or to bring forth complete and utter unnecessary and unfounded chaos based upon how we wield the same energies. So it's all about helping us to reestablish a true value system, because what we value is then what becomes our collective value. It's what becomes our financial system. We had a financial system because we chose to make money the thing of value. First it was gold, and then it became money, and now it's just arbitrary numbers in the screen. Hence the reason why the world has become about social media likes and views. It's just a reflection again of our value system, numbers. And that's what they want they want the world to head into, right? A cashless society where it's all just going to be what? Numbers. Numbers, numbers, numbers on the screen. But anyway, so Jupiter in Taurus at 5 degrees. Jupiter, of course, is the wheel of fortune. Taurus is the Empress and the Hierophant, and the 5-degree mark is the 5 of Pentacles. Jupiter will always show us the areas where we need to expand in order to meet our own greatness. And so this energy through the new moon is helping us to dispel of lack narratives that have kept us in bounds, like that have kept us bound to stories and bound to realities and cycles that literally like had us on a leash so we wouldn't prosper. That's what like the Jupiter energy is just like, no, it's time for you to take yourself off that leash. It's time for you to rewrite the programs that programmed you into self-destruction mode and self-sabotage mode to keep you cycling through lack. It's time to break the fuck out of those programs and to clear them out of your fields. Clear them out of our fields. Jupiter, of course, is also the planet that connects us with faith. And when I talk about faith, I'm talking about faith in self, belief in the amazingness of who you are as a divine being, because you are a God particle. You are. I am. So therefore, the faith we always needed to have has been in self. And when we have the faith in self, we have the faith in God. Okay, so I'm going to close this out now. The North Node in Aries at 20 degrees. So, 20-degree mark again. We are moving out of the third decan of Aries and Libra energy as far as the nodes are concerned. That went by pretty quick. The nodes just moved into Aries and Libra in Cancer season. So yeah, 6 months. That feels like it went by really, really quickly. So that we've already gone through 10 degrees of the nodes being in Aries and Libra. We've been through 4 of Wands and 4 of Swords energy, which is again, 4 is it is the establishment of an energy. And now we're moving backwards. Well, we're moving through the nodes. So we're going now into the 3 of Wands and the 3 of Swords. So this is all this is to do with, because the South Node is in Libra and that's going to be the 3 of Swords, this is all about letting go of those stories of heartbreak and disempowerment, and also of letting other energies get involved in running you. That's what the 3 of Swords is. The 3s in the tarot are connected to the Empress card, and so the 2 is you. The 2 speaks of you. You are a being that holds polar energies. You have a left brain, a right brain. You've got masculine and you've got feminine energies. You've got darkness and you've got light. You are a being that's come into oneness, but you have the polarity playing out in every aspect of who you are and how you exist. And so when you get to the 3s in tarot, those are the energies you begin to introduce that either align with the wholeness of who you are or take you out of balance and into, instead of having power over polarity, into duality consciousness that causes the split within you where you start to fight yourself, which is what the Matrix created. The Matrix split us within ourselves through trauma-based mind control programming. which is a whole other whole other discussion, which I've gotten into briefly before. But when you are able to traumatize a being, you can split them. You can split them. You can split them in the psyche. You can cause them to begin to betray their own hearts through the programming of their minds. And that's the whole premise of traumatizing a person on purposely in order to split them and cause that schism within. And that's what creates duality consciousness, because everything begins within us that we then take out and we start to wield that against one another. So that was the matrix hit us on every level, but the most important level that it would always hit us at was ways that we would disassociate, or we would separate from self in order to create schism with one another and in the world, because we are holographic beings. If we're split within, if we're at war within, if there are schisms with self, that's the kind of world we're going to create also. So the threes in tarot speak about the energies that we're going to allow into our reality that are either going to cause us to have more power over the wielding of our polarity, because these are energies that add to our value, or these are energies that are going to try to come in and cause separation of self, cause us to continually break up with self, as I said the other day. And therefore introduce a third energy into our reality that keeps us in that schism. That's what the threes are on either end of the poles in the tarot. On the one end, you have the energy that comes in to keep you in a state of wholeness, and oftentimes that energy will be God or your guides and beings that are in alignment with who you are divinely. And then you have what we call the karmic energies that come in to try to keep you in separation with yourself. So that's the other end of the expression of the threes. So now we're entering into, I say all this because the nodes are moving into the Three of Wands and the Three of Swords. And the Three of Wands, there is Wands is the introduction of an energy. So there's a new third energy that is wanting to come forth. And hopefully the energy that we are inviting in, now that we're coming into wholeness, are energies that are going to help us to continue to grow and promote that wholeness, right? While still purging ourselves of the stories and the energies that had us in Three of Swords energy, South Node in Libra, Three of Swords. And part of the purging of the Three of Swords is by coming into union with other energies and beings that help us to heal that aspect and come into the fullness of the beings that we are being reborn into, rebirthed into, if that makes sense. So this is where I'm going to end it. I wish you guys all a beautiful, beautiful new moon in Capricorn. I have I've opened a shop on Ko-Fi for those of you who are interested. I do have decrees on that Ko-Fi shop. I'll put the link in the description box below. I have a few of my decrees as well as my sacred bathing manual for cleansing and clearing. I will be adding a few new things to the shop. And when I do, I will link that. I'll post it on the community board. I will also be releasing the full report for the 2024 Tarot Astrology Ascension written report that I've done. I've been releasing it on my Substack I've been releasing it, why can't I think right now, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I've been staggering it. I've been releasing it bit by bit on my Substack, and I have one more article to release on my Substack in terms of the full report, and then I will publish it and release it for sale through my Ko-Fi shop. It's about It's a 30-page report on all of the energies of the year ahead, the pitfalls, the things that we're really being challenged to kind of look at, some of the themes that will be coming up for us on a global level. So for those of you who are on Substack, some of those might still be available for everyone to look at. And then some of them have been released for members only, and then the full report is there also for those of you who have membership on my Substack, those of you who are patrons. And then I will have the whole thing up on Ko-Fi in its entirety, in its cohesive, like 30-page report beauty. It will be up on Ko-Fi. If for more information on how to work with me, you can find that out on my website, solara.info. What else? If you would like to donate to my work or buy me a cup of coffee, you can do that through Ko-Fi. As I've shared with you guys before, I don't do any of the things on this platform, the partner program, so I don't run ads and I don't do super chats or any of that. Because my guides have made it very clear that I'm not to get involved on that level with this particular platform. So if you would like to give back to what it is that I do, you can do so through Ko-Fi or through my PayPal, which is below. And I thank you guys all for your generosity and all the ways that you've supported me. Thank you to those of you who support me across platforms, all the love you've been showing me recently on Substack. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you. And I wish you all a beautiful new moon. I think that's it. I will see you again for what's coming up next? The full moon in Leo. That's right. Take care.